Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steven with Freeze Peach Gaming, and I'll start by apologizing for the state of my voice. I'm getting over a cold right now, and this is about as good as it gets. Today we are looking at the authoritarian takeover of Australia again, or as I am liking to refer to this country, the testing zone. This is where they are trying out all of their wild authoritarianism to see just how much an unarmed population can put up with. Now, this won't equate to what they're going to try here in America because we have an armed population and it's two very different things, and that will come up later. But the 30,000-foot view of the most recent occurrences in Australia is that the military has gone into aboriginal communities and they are beginning to round up people and send them into quarantine camps. Now, this isn't just based on whether or not they had a positive test. This is merely based on how much contact they have had with people who have had positive tests. So we know of a total of 38 people who have been rounded up, and there is conflicting testimony as to whether or not this is a voluntary action taken by the individuals or whether or not they're being forced. However, when it is a group of armed military men coming in demanding that you go to a quarantine facility, your voluntariness is questionable, especially when these are unarmed populations, because, as we know, famously, Australia, about 20 some odd years ago, completely disarmed their population. There's very few guns left over there. Knife attacks are through the roof, but who cares about knife attacks? At least they don't have guns, right? So we've got a video here, and we're going to switch over to this, where it is the Australian, I'm not sure who this guy is. He's some sort of authority over in Australia who is talking about the measures that they are now taking in quarantining the aboriginals. All right, there's this guy here. Let's see what he has to say.
As you know, last night we took an urgent action to escalate our response in these communities
Escalate our response. They are constantly escalating the response. A day will not go by that they do not escalate the response.
Implementing a hard lockdown. That means residents of Binjari and Rockhole no longer have the 5 reasons to leave their home. They can only leave for medical treatment in an emergency or if required by law.
So now people are only in these particular regions they're talking about are only allowed to leave their house for medical treatment. There is no other reason you are allowed to leave your home.
Yes, these are strong measures, but the threat to lives is extreme.
They constantly talk about how extreme the threat to lives are. They'll have one case over there and they will lock down an entire state because of a single case or a handful of cases for a disease that has a 99% survival, greater than 99% survival rate. And beyond that, the tests that they're using have a decent chance, especially when you're testing a large population, of having false positives. Now, some places I've noticed are reporting that there's like a 98% chance that there's a false positive. That is not true. That's not how the data works on these PCR test, but when there's the likelihood that there's a low, very small portion of the population that is actually infected, and you're testing a large portion of the population, the chance of getting false positives is significantly higher than the chance of getting actual positive tests. Correct positive, I believe, is the right term.
An expanded rapid assessment team was deployed to Binjari and Rockhole last night to help with the hard lockdown, begin the contact tracing work and provide as much support as possible to residents. This includes providing food and other essential items to residents.
And we're going to see just how they are providing this food and other essential items. This is some crazy dystopian stuff we're going to see here.
The effort undertaken by our teams last night and the cooperation of Binjari and Rockhole communities was nothing short of phenomenal. I want to especially mention the Worley staff member Peter and his team who facilitated this last night. They were exceptional. Thank you.
Yes, thank you oh so much to the armed military members that are rounding up the Aborigines. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's highly likely that more residents will be transferred to Howard Springs today, either as positive.
So you can barely see it up there. I have a better picture of the Howard Springs facility. Let's see. Let me get this in center frame for you to see it. Yeah, that is the Howard Springs facility. Now, they're saying, "Oh, there's only 38 people in there at the moment." But look at this facility. It is designed to hold thousands. You see these little dots down there? Those are vehicles. Those are cars. These buildings are large enough to hold families in each of them. So there's thousands of people that could get quarantined in this community. Yeah, this is fairly frightening stuff. They've already got set up here, and these things they were saying weren't going to be done until 2024. Well, look at that. It's not even the end of 2021, and it's already ready to go. Got people. We're lining them up to go ahead and hop right into our quarantine facilities. Get in the camp, everybody.
Cases or close contacts. We've already identified 38 close contacts in Binjari.
38 close contacts, and they're putting people under a hard lockdown. Now, that's not 38 cases, that's 38 instances of people having contact with someone who has come back with a positive test.
And that number will go up. Those 38 are being transferred now. I contacted the Prime Minister last night.
You can see up in the top left here, there's going to be some images of the facilities they have going on here. Now, these appear to be just test subjects that they have sitting in here.
We are grateful for the
but we will see exactly how they're going to be treating the people in these quarantine facilities.
About 20 ADF personnel as well as army trucks to assist with the transfer of positive cases and close contacts and to support the communities. We are doing an assessment today of what extra resources we might need from the feds, and the Prime Minister is ready to help further. I thank him and the Australian government for that.
Yes, thank you, Prime Minister and Australian government, for giving us the power to take away people's freedoms, because we're scared. That's what they want. They want you to be scared as much as possible. They want you to be scared of a disease that has a 99.9% survival rate, to the point where you will be willing to go into one of these camps. And like I said before, the willingness of these individuals is brought into question because it is an unarmed population being told by armed military that they have to go into these camps.
Exposure sites will be updated on the website as the contact tracing continues today. We'll also keep testing and doing vaccinations in Binjari and Rockall.
All right, here's where we see exactly how they are going to be distributing the food and water and everything else to these people. This is some, look at the covers these people are wearing. You think that plastic poncho is doing anything for you? Like, seriously, we've been completely open where I live in Georgia for we had 6 weeks of lockdown, and since then we've been completely open, and the people take the mask as a joke these days. Like, when I went to the theater last Sunday, which by the way is completely unrelated to how I'm sick, it was a large amount of time before I got sick, and it was because one of my coworkers was a dickhead that didn't stay home when he was sick. So, and it was because he believed he didn't have COVID because he had the shot. So just because of that, he goes into work even though he's sick. That's what's happening to people who are getting the shot. It's not like they're going to be more logical and say, okay, well, even though I've had my COVID vaccine, they're not under the impression that they're capable of spreading it or even getting it anymore. So if they do get sick, their initial thought is, well, this isn't COVID, so I can still go out and just spread germs. That was the one good thing I was hoping was going to come out of all of this bullshit, is that people would start taking sickness a little bit more seriously and be more willing to stay at home when they are sick. But no, people are just like, oh, I got my shot, it can't be COVID. Fucking jackasses. Yeah, I'm calling you out. Got me sick. Alright, see that? They're putting all the food. They're just taking this food and water and everything. They're in bags and they're just dropping them off at the front porch like these people are fucking animals. Like you're putting it into a little tray at the front of your mouse cage. Look, all of those people were masked outside. They had the plastic covers over the front of them. They were wearing mask shields as well. This thing has a 99.9% survival rate. Like, seriously, people, You're completely giving up your freedoms for that? This is just another step in the ridiculous authoritarian takeover of Australia, and more people need to be speaking out against this. And now, like I said before, the reports about whether or not the people are going there voluntarily or they're being forced into the camps are conflicting. However, that's not what matters. What matters is the fact that they have taken 38 people and put them into quarantine camps. And it starts with 38, and I know a lot of people are going to obfuscate that and say, oh, it's just 38 people, don't worry about that. What happens when it becomes 138 people? What happens when it becomes 300 people? What happens when it becomes 1,000 people, and then thousands of people, and then they have camps set up all over the country, and then you have a percentage of your population being kept under quarantine? What happens when these people stop receiving the care that they're supposed to receive? Are they just going to be forgotten because out of sight, out of mind? Are we supposed to not care about this? What happens when they start rounding up people because of a test that isn't entirely accurate? What happens when they start rounding up people because you had the improper political view? Because our political view is now supersedent of any medical fact. And we have to follow the science by saying, if you don't follow what our view is, you're killing grandma. And if you're going to kill grandma, you go into one of these camps. All I'm saying is stay out of the showers.